show that has three particular differences from nearly every other show of this type you're going to see in this festival. Number one, I'm not going to like it in any way, except when we tell you we're going to like it here at the live, you know that it's live at that point of it. Number two, unlike most shows where you're watching these kinds of manipulations of slide on the next day, what we're going to make it this show we're going to be using technically giant magnifying glass in the corner. You really drop the back door and ultra close up to if you're in the front rows, you can just watch it live. If you're in the back, you can watch the screen or whichever way you feel like. And number three, unlike almost everything else you're going to see, where things could go up sleeves or be hidden in jackets, we're going to do this whole thing with no sleeves, no jacket, nowhere to hide. Thank you, stage manager David. So let's give you an example of the kinds of manipulations that we're going to be doing, testing the giant magnifying glass in the process. Ultra close-up view, with which we can use pure sleight of hand to achieve a fairly remarkable illusion. No, kill that, sorry. If you guys have been to primary school, you've already seen the removable thumb illusion before. That's not going to impress anyone here, unless you're younger than 4 years old, possibly. But what most people in the room will not have seen is what we in the industry call the extended remix edition, in which the first finger comes off, vanishes, gets replaced with the third finger. Third finger restores, little finger shrinks, thumb extends, comes up completely, goes back on, and for the finale, we will levitate that sucker. I think we're going to mix it up a little bit at that point. And so obviously, I'm guessing at this point, no one in the room actually thought I was really pulling off my fingers during any of that. Good, okay, fine, I'll tell you the real deal if we agree at that stage. But the reason I begin with that, it's a great analogy for the kinds of illusions you can create. Because again, using these kinds of sleights of hand, you can also use it to create the illusion of something apparently impossible happening that does actually look like it's really going on. For example, an easy object to manipulate is a coin. In this case, a US 50-cent coin. Could you check it out for me? Make sure, sorry, what's your name, by the way? Sorry? Craig. Hey, really check it out, make sure it's a real piece of metal. It's not made of rubber, it doesn't come apart. The reason we're using an American coin rather than, say, an Australian 20-cent or whatever is this is just the right weight, size, and thickness for some of the manipulations we're going to be doing with it. Specifically, using just a single coin to create a few apparently impossible-looking things, again, with the short sleeves and the jacket to hide it. Now, if you look at that picture there, two fingers holding a coin, and lock that image in your mind. Even if I put the coin away, still imagine the coin being held there. Visualize the curve of it, the silver and everything. Because then if I squeeze, you get the illusion of an appearance of the coin apparently coming back. And the opposite of an appearance, same term as a vanish. Specifically, making the coin apparently disappear and then reappear a second later. Let's mix it up a bit further, take it in a different direction. Doing what's called a transformation. Changing into a different chord. A multiplication, more than one of them appearing. And then finally combining a vanish and a transformation to go back in time to that first single silver coin. And so you can see, even with something as simple as just a single coin and a few other bits and pieces, you can create all this kind of this huge variety of apparently impossible things, even though you know it is dexterity, manipulation, and so on. Well, let's say, real question to everybody in the audience, wonderful audience people who have come and seen my show, which I love you eternally, otherwise it's very dull. If you had these kinds of, if you've done the practice to gain these kinds of sleight of hand skills and the dexterity, would you then, real question, use your powers for good or for evil? Yeah, okay. Definite swing in favor of evil. It's going to be that kind of show, I can tell. And if you were going to use them for evil in that case, again, real question, where would you go? Suggestions. Where would you be thinking to use your powers for evil? Helena, I would ask to borrow your money at this stage, but we just met. I don't think we've yet built up enough of a trust barrier to be able to, part you with hard-earned cash. That is a legit, apart from the creases in it, which we'll get to in a second, that is a legit $5 note. Perfect. Okay, and the reason for the creases is for this illusion to work, it's very key to get the creases in exactly the right position. It's kind of a distant cousin of origami. Because if we get those creases in just the right position to make the manipulations, the sleight of hand actually possible, we can eventually, again, with the bare sleeve, with the absence of sleeves, with the bare forearms and empty hands, create the illusion of a transformer what all resembles a $50 note. Now, think about it. Even though that is a very visually convincing illusion, I mean, it looks like a 50, sounds like a 50, everything else is apparently fair. If that were real, I probably wouldn't be here at the North Qatar all night. Just saying. I'd probably be on a beach in Hawaii, big stack of fives, doing a lot of folding, a lot of waving, a lot of cashing in. So unfortunately, as an illusion, we only get about 30 seconds out of this before, again, very slowly, very fairly, with short sleeves and empty hands, it morphs back into that five from once again. Which I'm going to hold on to because it may not be 50, but it's still cash. So now, at this stage, obviously, now, as you notice in that, I had to have the five folded up into the right size, because if you think about it, a $50 note can't be hidden behind a human hand. So it's not actually possible. Again, like I said, this show's about manipulations. I have a 5, I have a 50. They're manipulated in a way that makes it look like it transforms. You can enjoy it as a visual styling special effect without thinking it's real. But the reason why it has to be folded down, again, you have to have an object of a certain size to be able to manipulate it using those techniques. And that's why coins, poker chips, folded up $5 notes are about the right things. But so you can up the degree of difficulty by moving to a less tangible object. And now, sorry, sitting next to Helene, was it, or Helena? Helena and Craig. How you doing? Craig, we had you check out the chip earlier. Could you hold this in half up where everyone can see it for a second? Which is Craig. And the object we're going to be manipulating, again, a bit less tangible, rather than something like chunky like a coin or anything else. Small white piece of silk. Kind of a weird thing to be carrying around, I'll admit, but for the sake of the challenge, it's worthwhile. And so the problem is now, it's much bigger, it's bulkier, it's harder to hold on to. Even if you have it compacted up, it tends to spring out on itself. So the challenge now is to manipulate this in kind of a more subtle way. And the challenge is, as it gets moved down inside the hand, it looks to your eyes like it's shrinking. Now you know it's just going inside the hand, no big mystery there. But if we can get it down compacted to a tight little enough unit, we can start to use some of the same techniques on it. And then with a melodramatic wave, which just kind of distracts you while adding dramatic tension, we get the illusion of it completely disappearing. Now hold that for a second, because, Craig, cheers. This is where Craig's 5 comes in. Because we're all intelligent, we know something can't just disappear completely, it has to go somewhere. And that's where the $5 note gives us an answer to the question, where the heck that goes? Which is freaking amazing. Now, I know what you're all thinking at this stage. I mean, except maybe a couple of magicians in the audience. You're all wondering how, right? How? How can I be more like him? You're wondering how did you do that on lighting? We have Mel, who's been door and production manager, and we have David on camera providing you with this close-up zoom lens. All these people are absolutely indispensable to the show, and I'd like to thank them very much. Also, the Melbourne Magic Festival this year, apart from all the other wonderful performers, has a very special international guest, Mr. Shiragawa from Japan, who's actually in the audience tonight. We won't embarrass him by getting him to stand up. But he's doing shows next week, Wednesday to Saturday, that I'm helping produce. And if you liked this show, you will love what he's doing. I'm pretty sure once. I don't actually know what he's doing yet, but it's going to be awesome. Actually, some of the things we've seen tonight have been inspired directly by some of his material, so it's very exciting to have him here. Check out his show next week, highly recommended. But, a final thing to share with you, to end this on an interesting note. You've seen a lot of sleight of hand, you've seen a lot of manipulation, you've seen some things that look impossible. But one of the things I love about this art form is the fact that it is an art form. And you can take even something earlier. Remember when we're cutting to the aces. Pragmatic, impressive, but the fact that you can take that very same routine, but frame it differently with lighting and music and jazz it up a bit into what can be a very different experience that I hope you enjoy. I've been Simon Coronel. This has been a very much